Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? One of the things we've talked about over the past several weeks, certainly since training camp has started in the NFL, is how I have become more and more bullish on the Saints to win the division, and how we're starting to see a lot of people outside of the black and gold sphere kind of feeling the same way. I told you every day when we sit here in studio, we've got ESPN and ESPN2 on monitors. And what's the show called, Muse, the one that's always on here?
Daily Wager.
Daily Wager. Okay, so every day there's a betting show called Daily Wager, and like every day now they end the show with best bets, and I look up there and I see Saints plus 330 to win the NFC South. It's kind of trending that way. We talked about Yahoo and the Madden thing, how they got the Saints winning the Super Bowl. More and more and more, and I've highlighted a bunch. I think the Falcons and the Panthers are not going to be any good, and I think Tampa has massive questions. Injuries on the offensive line. Brady vanishes for 11 days during camp. You got a new head coach. You got injuries at receiver. You got past their prime pass catchers in Rudolph and Julio. I'm telling you, they just got big issues. Here's another one. Pete Prisco, CBS Sports HQ. Take it away.
The New Orleans Saints are going to win their division. Now, that's a bold prediction because everybody thinks the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the team to beat in that division. Everybody thinks the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a team to compete for a Super Bowl. But the New Orleans Saints will find a way with this talented roster to win the division.
Wasn't it Bart Scott last week? It was Bart Scott last week who verbally pimp slapped Stephen A., who was basically waving the banner that everyone else is waving about the Saints. Sean Payton's gone, no Drew Brees, Jameis Winston, crab legs, eating a W, all that sort of stuff. And Bart Scott basically ran through everything we talk about here, which is all the talent on this roster that still exists in a very winnable division. You're hearing more and more and more of it. I'm just saying, file it away. I've got the Saints at 10-7. I'm not moving off that. I don't know if they'll win the division at 10-7. I don't know if that's going to be good enough, but I think Tampa takes a step back this year, and I think the Saints will have a great chance to win the division and just get in the tournament. Get in the tournament, make you a run. The Saints will have their final preseason game on Friday in the Dome. There's always the question with these preseason games, players to watch, things like that. Who's on the bubble. And there's some very obvious ones, and it's the same ones that we've talked about every game so far. Look, Zach Bond is on the bubble. A lot of people have talked about Kirk Merritt, who's had a great camp, probably good enough to make this team, but is there a spot for him? We've talked a ton about running back and linebacker, the guys there. All of that is very true. I'll give you a few things that in this final preseason game I'm going to be looking for. Notably, will we see the starters play? We found out Tom Brady is going to play in the Bucs preseason game. There's a lot of starting quarterbacks, as we found out throughout the day today, who are planning on playing in their final preseason game. We all know traditionally the third preseason game is when we would see the most, the starters play the most snaps. But that was when there were 4 preseason games. We're going to kind of get a chance to see how the Saints handle this for the first time since they only played 2 preseason games last year because Ida canceled the third one. So, yes, I'm very curious to see if we see the starters, but I'm also interested to know if Dennis Allen and this staff are going to put more stock in the practices or the games. Because so much of the hay is already in the barn, and generally the last preseason game are guys auditioning for their next job. But there are some guys worth keeping an eye on. Like, Malcolm Roach is a good example. Like, I know Malcolm Roach is a Sunday player. Malcolm Roach has played football on NFL Sundays and been an effective run stopper and interior rusher for the New Orleans Saints. I'm not telling you I think he's a starter that I want playing 60 snaps a game, but as a rotational piece, he's a Sunday player. He should make this team. I don't worry about him. I mentioned just a minute ago Kirk Merritt. Merritt has by all accounts performed at a high enough level that he should have a roster spot. And the fact that the Saints have tried him at receiver, we've seen him on special teams, they're repping him at running back, tells you they are trying to find an excuse to keep this guy. I thought when we visited with Maddie Hudak yesterday, she had a great point. She compared him to Ty Montgomery. And Ty Montgomery's a guy who, when the Saints signed him, I loved that signing from Green Bay because he was a guy that could be a receiver. Remember when he was lining up as dotting the I in Green Bay, taking handoffs, wearing number 88? I loved it. Returner as well, very versatile. Merritt's the same guy. The problem in New Orleans is he ain't playing receiver. You're stacked there. You're probably going to keep another running back after Dwayne Washington, who's already a running back, who's going to make this team as a special teams guy. Now, he's been injured, but I'm assuming because he's been so valuable in that role in the past. And Deontay Hardy's your returner. So I don't know that there's a spot for Kurt Merritt. I'll be interested. He should have a roster spot, but how do you justify it? Because if you keep him, someone that in a spot where you would normally keep another guy doesn't make this team. There's really two positions that I think they got to work hard to fill, and I think this game could go a long way to determining that. One of them is on the offensive line. Now hear me out here. We all know the five starters are set, provided James Hurst is healthy. It doesn't seem like his injury is season-ending or anything like that, but he's just tweaked and they're holding him out. But we know those five are there with Hurst, Pete, McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and Ramczyk. Your first five are there. We know Penning's making the team in Throckmorton. That's 7. Usually you keep 9. So they got 2 more spots. Ethan Greenidge, they loved him. IR, his time in New Orleans is probably done. Sage Dockstader is another guy who played a bunch. Forrest Lamp. All 3 of those guys are on IR. So who are the guys that are going to win your other 2 spots on the offensive line? Generally, you want guys that are versatile enough to play the interior spots or the tackle spots. And, Landon Young, obviously, is a guy they used a draft pick on who got injured at the end of last season. He's a guy that's there. And, you look at a lot of these guys on the offensive line that are trying to win a starting spot. We've seen Nick Martin play really well at center. He's been one of the highest graded guys on Pro Football Focus. But really, Ruiz is your backup center. So do you keep Martin? Could he be your versatile interior guy? Lewis Kidd is a guy who probably has a lot on the line. The rookie out of Montana State. They brought back Derek Schweiger, who's someone worth keeping an eye on. Derek Kelly is a versatile swing lineman. And I only bring these up because, look, we saw it a year ago. All 4 of your starting offensive linemen outside of Cesar Ruiz all missed time last year. So you needed Throckmorton to play. Hurst became a very valuable piece for you. Will Clapp had been a versatile guy for you who could play any of the 3 interior spots. He's with the Chargers now. So you got to find those guys, and it's not just to hang on to a ninth offensive lineman. You've needed those guys, and you're going to need them again at some point this year. I mean, knock on wood, you hope these guys stay upright and healthy, and you get your whole starting 5 that stay healthy the whole year. History shows that's not reality, and especially where we've seen Andres Pete, who's been, unfortunately, an injury-prone player throughout his career. Hurst is hurt right now. Ramczyk got hurt last year. So, yeah, I definitely am curious who those final 2 offensive linemen are going to be. And then linebacker is the other spot. And I've talked about that really so far in this camp, until I'm blue in the face. But you feel so good about your first guy in Demario Davis, who's an all-pro. And then after Demario Davis, of course, Pete Werner, provided he's healthy, and it looks like he's coming back. But you've clearly been in search of veteran guys to supplement that linebacker room. You brought in Kiko Alonso, and he retired after a day. And after that, you go and you sign John Bostic. And you got Eric Wilson as well, 6-year player out of Cincinnati. It's clear, look, there's young guys they like. They like Andrew Dowell. Caden Ellis is going to make the team, 4th-year player out of Idaho. But they need other reps there or other bodies there and experienced options as well. The one that's really interesting is Nafai Sewell, who's a guy right now who he was a rookie out of Utah, but this weekend he was repping with the ones with Pete Werner out. I mean, they're clearly giving guys like Sewell and Kirk Merritt every opportunity to make this team. Kirk Merritt running at running back, Sewell running with the ones. I mean, they're getting as good a look at these dudes. It's clear they've narrowed their scope with who they're looking at right now for these final roster spots. So those are the guys I'm going to be keeping an eye on when the Saints play the Chargers on Friday night. I get it. It's a Friday night. A lot of y'all probably won't be locked into Saints-Chargers in the third preseason game, but these are the types of decisions, these roster decisions, where you build your depth on a roster to make you bulletproof. Every team deals with injuries. Your depth on that roster determine how well you're able to compensate through those injuries. You lose an offensive lineman, who's the next guy up? Well, for the Saints, years ago when that was Sinio Kelmete, he played exceptionally well, got himself a big contract in Houston because he was good as a swing offensive lineman. Who are those guys this year? That's what they got to figure out here as they head into the final preseason game. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.